It's really a pleasure for me to be here tonight with you because I'm a big fan. I really have spent a lot of time working in my 16 years here at the Economy League and in my 3.5 years before that in the state government, working on transportation issues. And TMAs are one of those unique entities that I think are crucially important, bringing together business, government, private sector leadership around the most important issues facing our communities. How to get to where you're going, how to improve the flow of commerce in our communities, and how to make it a safer, easier commute for all of us as we try to get back and forth from work. So thank you for all you do, Rob, and for the board and for the TMA in general. For more than 20 years, you've spent your time promoting orderly growth, sustaining your quality of life, and really done your part to ensure this region's economic vitality. I visited the website of the TMA, and I saw 3 terms that connect your organization's vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Those 3 terms are advocacy, sustainability, and partnerships. Tonight, I want to add a 4th, and Rob alluded to it. I want to add world-class to that and talk about what it means to be world-class. And I want you to start thinking along with me. I'm going to ask you to imagine some things and think along with me as we talk tonight. Think first about what it would take to achieve world-class status for Greater Philadelphia. Many of you travel the world. You're in other regions working both here and there. So I want you to think about that. And then, maybe another way, what can each and every one of you and us do to make Greater Philadelphia a world-class region? Now, and some people, when we started this initiative 2 years ago, asked, well, why bother to seek world-class status for Greater Philadelphia? Is that a possibility? Is that achievable? But, at the Economy League, we're becoming more accustomed every day to think that the relevant question is, why not? I don't think we have a choice in whether we want to be a world-class region. We're too big to ignore. We're in competition with regions around the world. We have to think about what it means to be world-class. And we have to ask the question, why shouldn't Greater Philadelphia be considered a world-class region? I know Rob just started following my Twitter feed, and last night I retweeted something that was a report that came out that listed the 40 regions that you have to pay attention to in the next 20 years. Well, Philadelphia wasn't on that list. And the question is why? And why isn't it on that list? What would we have to do to get on that list? And what would it take to keep being on that list? So let me talk to you a little bit about that, because when we ask the question, should Philadelphia be world-class, what we're hearing now is that there are hundreds of organizations and leaders in Greater Philadelphia who agree with us and think that it is important to be shooting for world-class. There's a sense of optimism here that's growing about our region, and it's not just because of the Phillies and the 4 aces and everything else that's going on. They really believe in this region and think that we have an opportunity. So don't bother trying to read it. So let me tell you a little bit about the World Class Greater Philadelphia Initiative. World Class is an initiative that's convening business, nonprofits, government, labor, and community leaders to establish a set of long-term priorities and focused strategies to make sure that our region is world-class. It's a civic version of what the world's smartest companies do every day. Great companies never rest. They imagine potential futures and prepare strategies to remain on top, no matter which combination of trends and forces impact them. They focus on clear goals and set priorities to achieve those goals. So here's our goal: to make sure that Greater Philadelphia is a world-class place to live, work, and play by 2026. Now, why 2026? Well, that's the year when we will be celebrating a pivotal historic event, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It's also a year that we know that the world's eyes will turn to our region as they join us in celebrating the birth of liberty and independence. There's going to be a lot of people here. If any of you know the history of the centennial, in 1876, about a quarter of the nation's population came to visit Philadelphia to celebrate the centennial. 1926, basically the whole South Philadelphia was cleared for the sesquicentennial at that time. 1976, the region redid Old City and brought that in. What will we be doing in 2026? But perhaps more importantly is, what's the story we're telling about our region when we have those visitors, when we have those eyes, when we have that attention? What will we do? It's not that far away. It's 15 years from now. 15 years ago, there was no Google. 15 years ago, there was no BlackBerry. How many of you could get by in a day without Google or BlackBerry or your iPhone? It's going to be a different world, and we need to be preparing for it now. So what are we doing? How are we trying to get there? Last month, the Economy League released a report containing 4 future histories of Greater Philadelphia in 2026 and their implications. This is a real pretty picture of the Sierra Center, and that's the cover of the report. Go on the website. If you have an iPad, it's really cool on the iPad. The 4 scenarios were based on more than a year's worth of interviews, roundtables, like Rob mentioned, and research into forces and trends at work regionally, nationally, and globally. We partnered with strategy firm Decision Strategies International. They're located down in Conshohocken, to develop those 4 different stories describing how the future might play out in 2026. The result formed the framework for this report, which we've titled 2026 Future Histories of Greater Philadelphia. So think about that, future histories. We're telling a story about our future and imagining what that history would be if we were telling it in 2026. The idea behind those future histories is to expand people's thinking about what the future may hold for our region and to build consensus around a short list of long-term priorities for Greater Philadelphia. So let me say that again. Consensus around a short list of long-term priorities, priorities that are robust across whatever future we might face. So let's take a few minutes together and imagine Greater Philadelphia in 2026 as depicted in the 4 scenarios. The first one, and you can't see it, is the global village. It's a world where cheap alternative energy is produced everywhere. There's a cool little battery that can store things very easily and hold on to energy. Investment in economic activity has spread across the planet. World economic power has clearly shifted to China, Brazil, India, and other nations that we consider emerging today. For Americans, it's an unsettling future, but there's a path to success for those that connect to global opportunities. In a world like this, Greater Philadelphia will face many questions. For instance, are we the hub of global connections that we need to be? Do our business policies support entrepreneurs and innovators? Can we collaborate regionally to solve the traffic and congestion issues that come with cheap and readily available energy? Can our higher education systems serve an international mass market, not just domestic? Those are just a few of the questions that might rise to the fore in a global village future. But will they be important if things don't play out that way? Let's change gears now and explore an alternative possibility. Scenario 2 we call tight belts, a world where energy gets ever more expensive. Political and economic power is concentrated in the hands of international corporations. The consumer economy slows. Think of it as 15 years more of the last 2 years or the last 3 years. A competitive advantage, though, returns to dense urban regions because energy prices are so high. And American higher education remains attractive to the global elite. For Greater Philadelphia, tight belts presents its own set of challenges and opportunities. Can our governments innovate to provide quality services at much lower costs? Can we offer healthcare and education systems that support the corporate economy? Can we exploit the advantages offered by our density and our connections to employment hubs? Will we be able to attract and retain international corporations that aren't headquartered here? And can our higher education industry win the business of a small but wealthy community of global elites? Those are key questions in the tight belts future, but they may not be as pressing in another future. The 2 futures we've just considered are worlds in which the global economy has shifted away from the United States. But what if America remains in the driver's seat? So scenario 3 is America in the driver's seat, a world where newly discovered domestic oil and gas, maybe in Pennsylvania, oil and gas reserves fuel a fresh American boom. Leading technologies are developed by U.S. scientists and researchers. New revenues fund reforms in education and healthcare. Success, though, breeds tensions over labor, immigration, and anti-American terrorism. Key questions for Greater Philadelphia in that scenario could include, Can our education system feed the needs of innovative American companies? Can we supply enough engineers? Can we supply enough for the work that is coming? Can we offer the workers, capital, and networks needed to attract and support clusters of high-tech R&D? Can we maintain a multicultural balance that is comfortable to longtime residents and to newcomers? And will cheap and abundant oil and gas lead to increased congestion and environmental problems? Those would be some of the important questions for our region in this future. But again, we don't know for sure that things will play out like this. We have one more future to explore. Let's take a look. Scenario 4 is partners in hard times, a world where energy grows more expensive and the global economy slows. Political instability is hindering emerging markets, so China's not growing as fast as we thought it might. Public-private partnerships in America support public services even as government shrinks. Investments in education and innovation help drive what growth there is in our economy. For our region, key questions that might arise in a partners in hard times future include: can government make the necessary legal and policy adjustments needed to encourage public-private partnerships, a new way of doing business for government? Can regional leaders collaborate to deliver better services at lower cost? Can our education system help fuel the public and private entities on which we rely for innovation? And can the region develop transportation solutions that allow citizens to maintain a high quality of life despite high energy prices? You'll find the complete version of all 4 scenarios, and there is a lot more behind them than what I said, and a lot more at our World-Class Greater Philadelphia website, and it's worldclassgreaterphila.org. If you pick up my visual aid, if you pick this up in the back, there's all sorts of ways that it points there. And the question is, what do you make of all of this? Each of the 4 2026 scenarios offers challenges and opportunities. Prosperity is possible in all of them, but isn't guaranteed. For example, in the tight belts and hard times, high energy cost future scenarios, regions that maintain strong regional transportation infrastructure are more successful in attracting and retaining businesses and residents. In the lower cost energy future scenarios, the extent to which regions can manage congestion and modernize their infrastructure impacts their competitiveness. From an overall perspective, our goal is to build consensus around what Greater Philadelphia must prioritize, regardless of what the future holds, in order to be world-class. Now, if you step back and think about it, and the question we're going to be asking as we take these on the road is, take those 4 scenarios. Can any one of us predict which one might actually happen? Are there pieces that you see in each of them that are coming true? As we were preparing these, and we started getting to these 4 months ago and got down to the final ones, that was before a tsunami destroyed a nuclear power plant, putting nuclear power futures at risk. What does that do to our energy prices? It was before unrest in the Middle East. What does that do for global stability? It was before we killed Osama bin Laden. What does that do for terrorism and security? All of those were futures that I don't think any of us would have predicted a year ago. So imagine what we could be facing for the next 15 years. Over the summer, the Economy League will be seeking input from folks just like you about these 4 scenarios in order to start building that consensus around regional priorities. We're asking people their opinions, getting them to focus on what the region needs to prioritize now to deal with an uncertain future. What kind of workforce is needed? What kind of education system? What about transportation and infrastructure? What kind of infrastructure investments will benefit the region best under multiple scenarios? And which industries and partnerships will help push us forward? If we've learned anything over the past decade, it's that the world is an uncertain place. New innovations create immense opportunities. Natural and man-made disasters reveal cracks and fissures in our global infrastructure. Economic calamities can strike the wealthy, and once poor countries can emerge as global leaders. Political leadership can change rapidly, and governmental resources may not go as far as they once did. But by imagining very different futures, we can be ready to adapt, to change, and ultimately to succeed, no matter what the future holds. As I close, please consider these 4 points. 1, that much about the future is uncertain and out of our control. While we can't predict what kind of future Greater Philadelphia will face, we can prepare now for the possibilities. 2, that those multiple histories, those 4 scenarios, are meant to provoke and stimulate discussion. We're asking people to give us your opinion about what Greater Philadelphia must focus on in the years to come, no matter what the future holds. Third, we're not offering answers yet or prescriptions. The outreach is meant to start a civic dialogue about Greater Philadelphia's future and how we can position ourselves to be among the among the world's top locations for business and lifestyle. And fourth, one of the other interesting things about these scenarios aren't just for regional planning. They're scenarios that can work in your business, in your organization, and have relevance across a whole wide range. Use them. They're open source. Take them. Feel free. Give us a call. So now it's your turn. What do you think? We're asking you to tell us what you think about our region's future. We want to learn your opinion. And how can you do that? We're going to have both virtual and in-person opportunities. In person, and you can't see these, there are going to be 5 roundtables in June that you could attend. One in Chester County at Shire Pharmaceuticals on June 2nd. One in Bucks County at the Bucks County Community College on June 7th. In South Jersey at Pinnacle Foods Group on June 14th. In Delaware County down at Widener University on June 23rd. And in Philadelphia at Pico on June 30th. Go to our website to sign up. We encourage you to attend. Bring folks. Don't hesitate to share the information. We want to have a robust conversation about our future. We're going to take those priorities and turn those into working groups around strategies. How do we do it? How do we accomplish it? How do we build the plans? That's this fall's work. But together now we have an opportunity to impact our shared future. Together we can make a difference, but there's serious work to do in an uncertain world, and it requires focus and collaboration. We invite you to join us, and thank you for the opportunity to talk tonight. Thank you very much.